first case of COVID-19, the number of deaths continue to climb.
Horrible outbreak.
Contracting the coronavirus.
She tested positive.
Fighting the virus.
For the coronavirus.
Quarantine zone.
Dangerous virus.
The pandemic changed the fitness industry, and will it ever be the same?
Challenges and opportunities facing the fitness industry.
Lockdowns around the world mean people are now working out from the comfort of their own homes.
Good morning. I'm your personal trainer, and I got a great workout for you today. Let's go.
Welcome to Kyoto.
Schedule the New Zealand trekking series.
Here at the top of Mount Fuji.
Hard to beat views like this anywhere in the world.
I'm taking up your incline at 3, 2, 1.
Come on, dig in. You got this.
You're gonna feel your bike pitch up, increase in resistance.
Sprint to the finish. We're almost there.
2, 1. Let's get that cadence up. You're doing great.
Really lengthen that stride.
That finish line is your goal.
Let's go. Let's go.
Push.
3, 2, 1.
Push it, baby. Go, go.
It's gonna be crazy. Let's get fired up.
We're saving ourselves from an extinction of experiences. We want to be able to experience wilderness and wide open spaces and big open roads.
Good morning. I'm your personal trainer, and I got a great workout for you today. Let's go. I'm taking up your incline at 3, 2, 1. Let's go.
I'm with you right here. Come with me.
Follow with me here.
Hard to beat views like this anywhere in the world.
At home, I want you to race me this round.
Nice work. Let's go.
The world's always bigger, and it's always more beautiful than we can think in our darkest moments. What if we viewed the stuff that gets thrown into our lives, the adversity that we face, as something we get to work with?
Sprint to the finish. We're almost there.
Join me, your trainer,
Your trainer, John Peel.
Stacey Clark, Kirsty Goldso,
Johnny on the spot, Tommy Ribs.
Hannah Eden. So what are you waiting for? Let's start shaping and toning that body.
This is iFit.
Welcome everyone to our very last one-on-one for this Future of Fitness virtual event. And I'm Pamela Kufahl with Club Industry, and I'm honored to be here today with Jorge Perez, who's president and CEO of the YMCA of Greater Cincinnati. But he has served at many YMCAs throughout his long career, including those in Dallas, Indianapolis, Southwest Illinois, and the YMCA of the USA. He's an accomplished strategic thinker, program innovator, fundraiser, and evaluator. And we're really excited to have him as part of this event to represent the YMCA community. So welcome, Jorge. Thanks for being here.
Thanks, Pam, for having me. I appreciate it, and I look forward to it.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and get started by, obviously everybody has been dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic and shutdowns and what have you. So let's delve into how that situation has really impacted your YMCA specifically, but also if you can broaden it out a little bit with the other YMCAs across the country that you're familiar with, how COVID-19 has impacted you guys and how that may differ a little bit from how it's impacted commercial clubs and studios.
Yeah, so as I was driving in today, I was thinking about this time last year, right? We were all so innocent on March 1st, this time last year, but the world was experiencing this once in a lifetime, once in a generation phenomenon. And we never really fully understood the impact it was going to have. But as it was unfolding and the word was getting out that cities were beginning to close, I remember having a conversation with our chairman of the board, who said to me, Jorge, what we need to do is preserve the why, advance our mission, and try to emerge stronger than we went in. And as we were shutting our doors, long before we were asked, by the way, so we went forward in Cincinnati and closed our doors even before we were mandated, in large part because of that second statement, advancing our mission. We were responding to an immediate need for childcare for first responders. I remember getting a call from one of the hospital officials and said, we need childcare. And I said, how many slots? Because we do that here in Cincinnati. And she said 1,000 slots. And we knew we couldn't do it with the infrastructure we had. So we went ahead and closed our facilities about 4 or 5 days before we were mandated by both governors. And we launched head first into this work of relief. And YMCAs around the nation began to do the same thing. Our focus was on advancing the mission of the organization, specifically addressing the health needs of individuals and individuals that were perhaps even isolating. And that became a significant challenge for us. So at the same time, we were dealing with what everybody else was dealing with, which was layoffs and cutbacks and suspending a lot of projects, reassigning the remaining staff to new projects. We shrunk by 80%. Our staff shrunk by 80% in those early weeks. All the while we were propping up feeding centers, childcare centers, senior support centers, rescues for our urban inner city kids who we were supporting academically, who were also designated to go home and do education for the first time on their computers. And so we were kind of launching forward and dealing with what I would consider to be your everyday business challenge. And in terms of emerging stronger, we were beginning to ask the question, how does the YMCA influence the social determinants of health across the region, even in spaces we had never been before?
Wow. And and kind of what were some of the things that you guys ended up doing? I think when we spoke before, you mentioned having after school, care for kids who needed you guys, with their school work, etc. And like you said, feeding some of the communities, individuals in your communities. Can you get into a little bit of some of those things that you did?
Oh, absolutely. So let me start with the childcare centers, because to prop up or start a childcare center usually takes YMCAs between 6 to 8 months to establish. We did 8 or 9 of them in weeks, working with governors, local leaders, and saying, we've got to establish these centers, and immediately began to work with first responders for their immediate needs. If you think about what a childcare center need for a first responder might be, it may differ from your traditional job. For example, we may have a nurse that needed help just Tuesdays and Thursdays because that's when their shift, but then she became infected, so she no longer needed the care. And then when she thought she was going to come back, she found that her mother could take care of the child, and we were always holding slots, transitioning slots, and that was all over the landscape. So the way I describe it to individuals, it's like we were like at a war. You had to establish new programs and hope that you didn't need it, just like bullets on the battlefield. You hope you don't need them, but if you need them, they need to be there. And we did that with food distributions. If you think about all those kids that no longer had free or reduced lunches because they weren't at school, many of our locations became drop-off centers where people could come and pick up their lunches and their breakfast and even evening meals and meals for their weekend. For the seniors, we mobilized a lot of member volunteers to call on our seniors. How are you doing? What can we do for help? There was a lot of fear in the environment in those early days. So seniors needed somebody to go grocery shopping for them, going to find get their prescriptions, answer real basic questions. And they were very, very afraid. And we started to delivering meals to their homes. And we are still doing that a year later. We are still providing meals for families. And then along the way, we started to ask, well, what are we gonna do with individuals that are sitting at home all day? We launched a lot of virtual programs, virtual Zumba, virtual Pilates. Sometimes our instructors were at home themselves. So we taught them how to use technology and do that. And we even launched a few challenges that I'll speak a little bit more about this, but this idea of getting people connected with each other across the region and even across the country. So we were inventing new ideas while dealing with the implications of closure and a reduction of significant numbers of paying members.
Yeah, can you speak a little bit to that? Because, just like a commercial health club, part of your operating costs are paid for by your membership. So you mentioned to me previously a little bit about how some of your members became donors. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, so when individuals couldn't come into our facilities, we began and a lot of our members saw us move to the front lines, move forward to the front lines. And I think it's important to help individuals understand why the YMCA did what it did. Our mission statement at the Y is to put Christian principles into practice through programs that build healthy spirit, minds, and bodies for all. Nowhere in that mission statement does it say to run fitness centers, swimming pools, childcare centers, after school youth sports, resident camps. It's to help strengthen the spirit, minds, and bodies of people. And so when our tools that we normally use become unavailable, either because something happens to the building, or in this case, there was a pandemic, that doesn't mean we stop. And so we ran forward and our members became part of our solution, part of our rescue. Many of our members quickly began to ask, what do we need to do to help? Many of them said, this is exactly why we belong at the YMCA, because we want to be part of that rescue. And so they were consuming some of the online offerings, but quickly saying, how do we contribute? How do we give more? Some of them signed up to call those seniors and engage in some of that tutoring program. To the extent that they could, they also helped us with the distribution of PPEs, food. Some of them, even to this day, are still helping us clean our buildings because we had to let go of so many individuals. We needed extra support there. So we've got members that show up on Tuesdays and Thursdays, not just here in Cincinnati, but across the entire country, cleaning and maintaining our facilities.
Wow, that's some loyal members there, very devoted to what to your guys' mission. So that's fantastic. Even with all of that, many people are still scared to return to their Ys and other fitness facilities, which has really affected you guys, I'm sure, as you reopened. Can you talk a little bit? You mentioned the challenges that you guys implemented. Can you talk a little bit about those challenges and how you're trying to keep people moving and participating in those and the purpose for those?
Yeah, like so many fitness centers and YMCAs around the nation, even after we opened, even after the governor said late in the fall, late in the summer, early in the fall, that we could reopen, families were not coming back. They were still afraid. And so we talked amongst ourselves and talked with other YMCAs across the country. And we said, how do we reach out to them? How do we create a bridge between the services we're providing, even on-site or virtually, and what they need? And so we launched the first challenge, which was called the Strong Challenge. And it's just what it sounds like. The goals were to try to help people feel strong, not just in spirit, but also in mind and body, or mind and spirit, but just really trying to make sure we're connecting them with each other. We launched a virtual group on Facebook, and many tens of thousands of individuals joined that group. At this point, I think we have 17,000 individuals very actively engaged. So we have moms in Alaska supporting moms in Texas, leaning into each other and helping them discover. And they're talking about things like how are you dealing with your kids right now? But they're also talking about their fitness struggles and their mental health struggles. So our first challenge resulted in about 6,000 individuals from across Cincinnati, 20,000 across the nation. And then we relaunched another challenge at the beginning of the year when we saw that our January joins were really low. And so we wanted to go out in the community and provide support for that group. And we had 10,000 people join us for that challenge, and 50,000 individuals across the nation. We were serving now, connecting with 110 YMCAs nationwide. And the challenges are just what they sound like. It's an opportunity, a 6-week opportunity for people to connect with each other using text, using a website, using social media, sharing their journeys with each other. Many of them are taking pictures and then posting them on social platforms, joining together as families, encouraging each other to do 30 minutes a day of activity and doing things like serving out in the community. This week, the challenge for this week, because we're in the middle of reset, is to get out and serve. That we believe that in order to live a healthier, productive life, you need to be out serving your fellow man. And so we're encouraging individuals to get active, whether it's a faith-based community or a food bank or any of those kinds of opportunities that they get out and connect. So that's what we're going to be doing this week. And we're excited to say that we've seen huge increases in engagement in our fitness classes, I think because we were encouraging them through our challenges.
Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. And were these paid programs? Were they free, and were they only for members?
That's a great question. The challenges were all free. So we provided them free to our members, free to the community, because our goal was to try to really influence the social determinants of health that we talked about earlier. And we know that some families, either because they lost their jobs or because they're afraid to go out, they were never going to come to our fitness centers. Now, for members that were remaining, they got t-shirts and water bottles and those kinds of things. But for those individuals that weren't ready to do that, we wanted to extend that opportunity regardless of their inability to pay. We have seen many of them make trips into the YMCA. One of my favorite stories is of a dad who got signed up by his wife. He didn't want to do it, and so they were out as part of one of their challenges, out walking their community with their kids, and came across the YMCA. They didn't even know it was just around the corner. They had just moved into that area, and they went in and they joined, and now they're actively engaged in swimming and a couple other services, and taking advantage of all of our virtual offerings. Even our seniors, we had a silver sneaker class with almost 100 seniors in their living rooms, bedrooms, kitchens, a whole lot of garages, all trying to do their silver sneaker classes and spending a lot of time reconnecting with their friends using Zoom as a platform.
Yeah, that's great. Sounds like the engagement has really been a positive part of that, which is important for any fitness center, whether it's a Y or commercial club. So we've got about 5 minutes here, and I'm going to combine our last two questions here. You had mentioned to me previously that your Y lives by 4 V words, and so I believe those V words kind of carry you into the future a little bit. So maybe you can talk a little bit about those 4 V words and how you see those applying to the future of your YMCA and perhaps even the future of YMCAs in general.
Well, there is no doubt that the future is going to be dramatically different. The illustration I like to use here is we have been in a car wreck. 2020 was a car wreck for all of us. And in the midst, we were hoping we'd survive, our airbags deployed, our seat belts were going to hold us, and the people in our cars, we were hopeful that they would emerge. And many of us have come out on the other end intact, but our vehicles, our YMCAs, our fitness centers are in trouble. And I think the mistake we make is believing that the world is going to be the same. And we're just simply going to get our cars repaired and get back on the road. There may not be roads again. And so the 4 V's are virtual. We're going to have to be more virtual in this new environment because people are going to consume us this way. And this isn't just simply about putting things online, but individuals we hire, individuals we have are going to become more familiar with platforms like this one. The second thing is we're going to become more virtuous. That means we have to be about the transformation of people's lives. This isn't just a nonprofit. I think every company out there is going to have to be focused on how we transform the lives of individuals. We have to do the same thing, really leaning into our mission. We're going to have to be viral. That means we have to operate not just at the 1,000 scale or the 10,000 scale, but we have to reach tens and hundreds of thousands of people and use the platforms of social media to do it. We can't be satisfied if we want to be transformational with just influencing a handful of people. We have to operate at the viral scale. And then finally, I think we're going to have to be valiant. We're going to have to be willing to let go of the things that used to be normal. For the YMCA, it might be buildings. It might be a particular class we've always taught in a particular way, and we're going to have to be outside. I got an email today from one of our members that said, I want to come back to the YMCA. I'm kind of coming in a few days a week, but I really want to be part of that class, but I'm not ready to come inside yet. Can we do that class in the parking lot? And that's a great example of we have to be willing to be valiant and say, yes, we'll move all the equipment and do it out in the parking lot. Now that the weather's returning back to, we're past our winter tornadoes and vortex that we all experience, we need to be willing to adjust our programs and do new things in new ways because we're entering a new environment.
And I believe you even mentioned that you guys have a virtual YMCA branch, which you think more Ys will begin doing something like that?
Yeah, we have launched our first ever virtual Y branch with a Y leader and structuring it much like you would expect. And there are YMCAs around the country that are beginning to explore or are launching similar initiatives, but I think that's going to be more normal, a permanent virtual presence, not just to support those that want to consume us this way, but to support those that want to consume us a different way. So we might have a member that comes to a Y virtually first and then goes to their local Y. And then from time to time, ebb and flow, you know, there may be a Saturday, I don't feel like going to the YMCA, so I'll take the class virtually with my friends at the same time.
Right.
Or maybe I'm at another location and I'll take that class at that Y with my friends in another location because it gets them simulcast. We need to provide multiple options for individuals because our world has changed. And we're doing that not just in fitness, but as we're taking care of those students and those seniors that we spoke about earlier, because that's the world we're in.
Wow. Well, this has been fantastic. I wish we had more time than 20 minutes because you guys are doing some really fascinating things there. But thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day, Jorge, and sharing what you're doing there and what you're seeing at other YMCAs. We really do appreciate it, and hope to talk and follow what you guys are doing a little bit more through the Club Industry website.
Well, thank you so much for sharing our stories, because I think as we lean in and learn more, we'll get better for it. At the end of the day, we're all in the business of trying to help improve the lives of our friends and connect them with each other and improve the community.
Great. Thank you.